Searching forms. So depending on the form you're in, you can use a different procedure. For instance, if you are in JSP forms, then you can use the search function provided in the JSP forms. Likewise, you can also customize the search criteria in the JSP forms. On the other hand, in Java-based forms, you can use a feature called as query find to search. As an alternate, you can also use shortcut keys such as F11 to enter the query and control F11 to execute a query. So let's go into Oracle applications and understand this procedure one by one in both these forms. So I'm going to minimize this and I will go into Oracle applications, and in order to search, all you do it is hit the search button. Now different forms could have the search button at different places. So as far as the purchase order form is concerned, this search button is on the right hand side, whereas other JSP forms could have the search button probably at a slightly different place in the UI. Okay, and here all you've got to do it is hit the criteria. So I will enter a particular criteria. Let's say if I want to search by a particular order number, so I can simply enter that particular order number, say 6574, and hit the go button, and it's gonna retrieve me that particular order number. So I'm gonna clear that now. And the second thing I told you is you can also customize the search criteria. So in order to customize, all you've got to do it is come to this bottom, and here you would see something called as add another, and choose the field that you would like to add in addition to the 4 ones that are over there. So let's say if I add a field called as description and hit the add button, and it would appear right beneath the last field approval status. Alright, so did you see that? Now all you've got to do it is, in order to use this particular field, you must provide a value in one of these first 4 columns. So let's say I provide a value called as advanced network devices in the supplier. Okay, and I come down to description, and here I will enter a value called as test and percentage. So all the purchase order which are belonging to this supplier with a description of test word in the description would appear at the bottom. So let's try it now. Okay, so let's say test PO, and we will change this particular one to, instead of is, which would look for the whole thing, we will say starts with, and then we'll try it again, and hopefully we should get it this time. So you can see now we could able to retrieve the purchase order number belonging to supplier advanced network devices with a description of test PO2. So that way you can use the search criteria in JSP forms. Now let's go back to the Java forms and see how that works in terms of the search. Now I will go back to purchase order responsibility, and I will look for the form purchase orders. Okay, and right here on the form at the top you've got a torch like icon called as find, and this icon is also called as query find form. So this is one way to find. Here you can enter the purchase order right here for the form, and if the purchase order is correct, then it's gonna get you the details of that purchase order, and you can hit the OK button. It's gonna retrieve the record. That's one way of doing it. Now I'm gonna close this form at the moment, and I'm gonna reopen it, and I will hit a key from my keypad called as F11, and here you can enter a description, let's say test, and then say PO, and then enter percentage. And if you want to execute this query, so right now as soon as you enter F11 you are in enter query mode, and if you want to execute this query, simply do control and then F11, and it's gonna pop you the results back. So that's how you can execute another way of entering a query in the forms. Now the third way is you can go to another form, say purchase order summary, and here this form what you see is called as a query find form, and here you can also enter a criteria. So this criteria is predefined criteria that you see over here. You can choose the supplier, say advanced network devices, and look at that, the supplier is found, and then hit the find button and it's gonna take you to all the purchase order for this particular supplier. So that's the third way of finding it in the form. So these are the different ways you can search Oracle application forms.